I want the ability more than anything. My wife and I talk about this all the time. We don't want to be wealthy for the flashiness of wealth. We want to be wealthy to be able to serve and give back. Moving out of the country and serving for 2 years on my own dime, giving back and just serving people and helping them with whatever they needed just set a tone in my life that there's nothing greater.
Welcome to the Wealthy by Design show. I'm Jane Somerset, your host. In this show, we'll explore what it really means to build wealth intentionally, not just in your bank account, but in your health, your time, and your sense of purpose. Each week, you'll hear stories from people who are passionate about creating a life that balances finances, health, and meaning, because a truly wealthy life looks different for everyone. We'll dig into their personal journeys in building businesses, what worked, what didn't, and what they'd wished they'd known sooner, so you can streamline your own path to success. We'll also explore different approaches to money and how people think about financial stability, goal setting, and the mindsets that support long-term freedom. Together, we'll break things down into simple, actionable steps you can start using right away to design your own version of a wealthy lifestyle. And if I wander into a topic that wasn't on the original list, it's probably because my curious little heart just had to know more. So follow along, be kind, and enjoy the show. Today we have Jake Goetz from Goetz CMO on. He dives into how he started his company, and he has a lot of things in the works right now. He also has a lot of experience in the marketing realm, and he talks about how he got into the dental industry. So welcome, Jake, to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, I've always been curious in nature. I don't know why, but I'm genuinely a curious person. And when I got into my career, 20 years ago, I decided I just loved meeting new people because I was always learning something, whether it was different. When I was, 18 years old, I decided I wanted to go abroad. And so I served a mission for my church, and they decided to send me to Brazil, where I learned Portuguese, and I was knocking doors, or as they say in Brazil, clapping at doors, because you don't knock, you clap at the gate and then they come out. And so it was a lot of fun to just learn a new language, learn a new culture, get to know very amazing people. I love the Brazilian people. I miss them every day. I chat with them every day on social media when I can, and it just made me a very natural, I'm very curious, and I like to learn as much as I can. And as I came back from that experience 2 years later, and I started going into my career, I decided I wanted to go into sales and selling, because you meet everybody, you talk to people all day long. And so I got a degree in professional sales, and then I did an emphasis in marketing, and I sold anything to just learn what I could and get to know people. And I was 100% commission salesman to start my marriage and my life. I learned very quickly that if the marketing was organized and very targeted, the sales job got easier. And if the leads were good quality and you knew how to qualify those leads and then communicate with those people, you were more likely to get them to move forward with whatever your offering was. And so I pivoted in 2013 to the dental industry, and I started working, and I actually got recruited to train dental staff on how to answer phone calls.
I was going to ask how you transitioned into the dental industry. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a very interesting thing, going through that experience, because I was managing a call center. I had a small team of about, 80 reps that I was managing. We had 1,200 salespeople on the phones, and we were getting thousands of phone calls a day. I mean, our phone bill was over $100,000 a month for that call center. And it was really fun because we got so many phone calls, we could perfect everything we were saying, how to overcome objections, how to present. And I was playing basketball with a friend, and he said, "What do you do for work?" And I told him, and he said, "I do marketing for dental offices. Would you be willing to come do a training and train this dental office on how to schedule appointments over the phone?" And I was like, "You guys need that? Like, that's weird." And I had no idea anything about dental other than my own experience. And so I did this training, and I got paid really well for it. And I thought, I want to do this. This is second nature to me. Training and sales was like my life. And so as I transitioned into that, I started working for 123 Postcards, dentalmarketing.net. We tried launching orthodonticmarketing.net, pet marketing for veterinarians, vision, like we tried doing eye marketing. I mean, you name it, we tried it. And then we co-founded Gargle, and Gargle is a large digital marketing agency for dentists. And they've got hundreds of practices all over the country. And I ended up helping them kind of establish what is the way that a dental practice needs to be relevant in their community to get more quality leads, while still training them on how to convert those leads into new patients in the chair. And after a few years there, I decided, man, I want to go down this road of data. Like, I want to perfect analyzing data the best way that I can. And so I just started researching what tools are out there, what data is available. And my co-founders at the time, they completely supported me and said, yeah, we don't want to go that extreme. They didn't really want to pursue, I mean, they're very into data, but they didn't want to go as deep as I wanted to go. So they supported me in transitioning out of that role over about 9 months. We hired my replacement, trained him, got him up to speed, and then they supported me going out and building my consulting firm. And so we're just a small team. I mean, we've got like 6 of us, and all we do every day is we take somebody's patient list, we break it down, we analyze it, and help them understand what percentage of your patient base falls into this avatar or this persona. And we cross-reference the credit bureaus and what your patients are currently spending money on and financing in their lives. Then we cross-reference dentographics and all of the tools available for people looking at what market saturation looks like and how many practices there are, who the specialists are, what the population density and demographics look like. So we take all of that data and we analyze what's called socioeconomic data, which is, or sociometric data, along with psychographic data for behavioral patterns. And we meld all of that together to say, okay, Dr. Jane, these are the actual patients that are coming in. This is where they spend their time on social media. This is where they spend their time within their community. This is what resonates with them. These are the messages you should use in your marketing to get more patients like them, so that you're not spending money throwing a massive blanket and not really, I mean, there's a lot of waste in marketing. And so we've tried to find a way to reduce marketing spend without negatively impacting the results. And so that's really where we got a lot of referrals our first few years going out on our own was, oh, Goat CMO is the group that will save you a ton of money on your marketing. And now we're more of the Goat CMO helps you understand your data so that you know how much to spend and where to spend it on your marketing. So that's how it all came together.
How many, I mean, that just seems very forward thinking for an agency and what you offer. Are there a lot of other agencies or consulting agencies that are using all of these metrics? I haven't heard of too many.
No, I haven't.
First, I feel like.
Yeah, I haven't found anyone doing it to the extent that we are doing it. We actually, in February of this year, we realized that we were missing a few key elements of our data. You know, I apologize to any of my past clients that worked with me in 2024 because we didn't know what we didn't know. We were giving them recommendations. We were finding them good marketing people that we trusted to try and get the job done. But the landscape was changing so quickly
I mean, the
because
tools
of
available,
AI.
yeah, now even just in 1 year are just so much more immense. I mean, so yeah, it's changing so quickly, which must be
Yeah, so
tough to keep up, but very exciting for.
yeah, it's been a very eventful year for us. We invested almost $300,000 into this new tool in order to get all of our tools to communicate with each other and integrate. You know, so I share very openly. I always have shared very openly what I've done and why I've done it the way I have. Because the way I see it is if somebody's going to take this and build a knockoff, like, good luck. I know what I went through. You're more than welcome. And if you find a way to do it better, then I'm going to learn from you as well. So I hope somebody somewhere listens to what I've done and they come up with a better way, because we are far from perfect in the way we've done it. But we have a secret project going on right now behind the scenes for all of our 2023 and 2024 clients since we started. We started in early 2023, and I'm basically building them a free persona report, which we charge, $1,500 to do. But anyone that I worked with in the past that is not even a current client, I am doing this for them, and I'm delivering it to them for Christmas.
Oh my
So
God.
like, I just want to say I didn't have access to this, and I want you to know that now that we have this, like, here is something that hopefully will help moving forward in whatever you're doing. Thank you for bearing with us as we were going through these very treacherous waters of change. And it cost them money, it cost us money, and we all kind of suffered through it together. Marketing sucks, like, it's hard. And why I chose to stay in the marketing space with all the challenges is just because I feel like it's a responsibility of those of us who understand some of the foundational principles that are truths. Like, they're not going to change. There are still components of marketing that are very, very relevant once you learn those principles that you have to apply. So that's the foundation that we've tried to build off of.
That's fantastic. They don't teach dentists marketing in school.
They don't.
And I can't stress how important it is. Our goal is to reach as many patients and give care to as many patients as we can, good quality care. And if we're trying to reach people who are not right for our practice, then we're wasting our efforts, we'll just say. So
Yeah, I find that, and this is something I learned when I first pivoted into dental, and it became part of our onboarding strategy with every new client who came to us and asked us to run a marketing campaign. We asked them, not only what are your goals, how many new patients do you have, what's your revenue, and goals around that. But we would ask them, what do you feel your presence in the community is? Like, what do you think the sentiment analysis is? If you were to survey your community, what do they think about ABC Dental? And most of them, they're like, well, I think it's good, because this was back in the day when Google reviews were just starting, and people, and so you couldn't really get much sentiment analysis other than, well, I don't have a lot of complaints, so I think we're a good practice. I think we're doing a good job. And as Google reviews became more and more prevalent, and Facebook reviews and Yelp reviews, and then sentiment analysis became very much a huge focus with voice of customer data that became available. Until then, we would just say, well, what is your philosophy then? And so it became part of our onboarding process to say, what makes you unique? And they'd say, well, we make every patient feel like family. It's like, well, look, that's not unique. Every practice wants to do that. So what else? And it was shocking how few business owner dentists could tell us what their uniqueness was, what they wanted to carry to make them stand out from the neighbors. But the ones who did say, no, this is our mission, this is what we want to accomplish, this is our tagline that brings all of our purpose full circle, and all of my team is on board with, and this is the patient experience we are providing and why we do what we do. Those were the very marketable practices that suddenly we could build a campaign around. We could design a website around that. We could design a postcard or a billboard or a radio ad that carried that personality. And so the one thing we never gave up in those first 10 years working with these 3 different agencies with the same owner group, we just had 3 different names we operated under depending on the type of campaigns we were running for them. Everything stayed the same, which was, we will not automate and bring in a IVR system that is a robot to handle customers. Like, we always spent way more money on customer service people and strategists to have conversations with the doctors and the office managers and the marketers at the practice to make sure that there was a relationship, so that I could say, okay, Dr. Jane, I know who you are. I know your personality. You've now expressed to me enough about the way your interactions with your patients go and how you treat a new patient versus existing relationships. We see what you're posting on social media. Like, we feel like we know you and we can carry you to the community as the differentiator. And there's a lot of doctors that they're not willing to be vulnerable to say, I don't want to be the face of my practice. I don't want to be putting myself out there like that. So no, just go with the brand. And that's fine. You can go with the brand, but if you don't know what your brand is, you're leaving yourself out to dry with some agency that's just going to guess. And that's why so much marketing in private services and healthcare services and dentistry is so generic, is because they don't want to think about those uniquenesses and telling the stories of patient experience and their own experience and their own journey to get to where they're at. And so you have to carry in marketing to tell stories powerfully. You need to be a little bit vulnerable. And that's where the power comes in storytelling and conversion and getting people to buy into what you're trying to serve and do.
Do you have a specific practice that stands out to you, or an example of, one that kind of sticks in your mind that you've helped in the last couple of years?
Yeah, there's one in particular. Well, there's a lot right now that kind of just flushed my mind, but I would say one of the biggest ones where we tracked everything so meticulously was Aspen Dental. It's a private practice. They actually had the name Aspen Dental way before corporate.
Wow,
And
okay.
they get a cease and desist every month from Aspen corporate. But they're based out of Colorado, and I love them to death. I've worked with them for 9 years in different capacities. But they were one of our very first clients in 2023 to come on board with us. And that was a practice where I knew they were up against people comparing them to corporate and to DSOs and to the revolving door of associates and patients coming through and feeling like it was the patient experience is just not consistent for corporate. And so I said, look, you have an established practice, you have an incredible patient base, let's study the patient base. So before we had automated and built all of our softwares, we went through, and over the course of the 3 months, we analyzed all of their patient data, and we started identifying what were the physical barriers in his community that were keeping people from driving to their practice. Was it I-25 going through the heart of Denver that people wouldn't cross over? Was it part of downtown? And the agency that they were using, the digital agency they were using, they were doing traditional Google ad targeting, where they would just put a radius around the practice and blast that radius. And so we partnered with a group out of Utah that does Google ad micro-targeting based on the existing patient data. And that's what started us down this path of working with them. So in October of 2023, we implemented hyper-targeted ads with HoneyGrid. And honeygrid.ai is their website. And I can't recommend them enough. They are very good at taking from your patient database and your practice management system where your patients are coming from, and you can do it by procedural code. If you say, I want to see where my implant patients come from, or I want to see where my Invisalign patients are coming from, or okay, show me only the patients that are spending over $5,000 a year on average the past 5 years. And so we ran all of these different production reports out of their EagleSoft. And we started analyzing and drilling down into what do we want to accomplish? What are the goals of this practice? Because they had 3 associates to feed and they needed some significant growth. And they were already doing amazing. I mean, they were doing several million a year, very well-oiled machine, high-end dentist or dental practice in a very high-end part of town in downtown Denver. Very competitive. And the more we started breaking that data down, we went from $114 average cost per acquired patient, not lead, actual patient cheeks and seats, as I like to say, right? And we went from $114 cost per acquired patient to $62 cost per acquired patient over 3 months, just by analyzing and understanding where to hyper focus those ads so that we weren't displaying ads 5 miles across downtown where nobody's going to drive through downtown Denver to get to this office. And we knew that from the data. So instead of just a generalized radius, we were able to remove areas like 1 kilometer blocks of area that we knew we had never successfully pulled a patient from. So that was one incredible case study that we literally cut his budget in half on marketing, and he was still getting the exact same number of new patients every month.
Significant.
Yeah.
Bet they
So
were
we
very
worked with them for a couple of years, and then they had gotten to a point where they had somebody that was there full time to handle their marketing. And so it was a very amicable parting. We were so happy that they had grown to a point that they could sustain someone full time. And so during about a 3 to 6 month period, we phased ourselves out and trained the replacement coming in full time to take over. It just didn't make sense for them to continue working with us as the consultative arm, because we do have consulting services on top of just the reports that we do. But we still run reports all the time for practices like that.
What are all of the services that you offer as well? Because I see CE as well. It seems like
Yeah.
you're busy. You're doing a lot.
Yeah, so I speak about once a quarter. I'll do some type of a CE event somewhere that I get invited to. That's where I met that doctor, as I go to the Rocky Mountain Dental Convention and speak almost every year. So we'll teach CE. I do focus study groups that we do give back to, like, third and fourth year focus study groups and business groups that are in dental school, where we'll do lunch and learns for them and just teach them a few fundamental basics of what to think about as they go into the market to market themselves. But we don't charge anyone for that. That's just, if anyone hears this and wants to schedule us to come in and do a free educational seminar, we'll do that over Zoom at any time. But our core services are patient persona reports. So if you need help understanding your patient by the data, not just creating you some dream patient avatar that you don't even know if that person actually exists in the world. We don't do that. We do it off of your data. That's kind of the exam and x-ray for us. Like, you guys would never diagnose and give someone a treatment plan without an exam and x-ray. So we call the patient persona our exam and x-ray consultation. And then we build what's called a marketing trail map, which, based off of that persona, it's part of the trail map report. We will then build you a 12-month do-it-yourself marketing plan. And those end up being, you can see them on the shelf behind me if you're watching, but they're these like 50-page books that we actually print a workbook based on your data, and we'll give you themes and taglines and call to actions and persona-focused groups and the hook to get people's attention, and what platforms that you should be marketing on, how much money, what your budget should be month by month. And then down at the bottom, we'll give you an implementation plan of how to execute. And it starts out the first few months of the year where it guides you step by step on what to do. And then it turns in about the fourth month, it turns into a workbook. So we teach you how to do it, and then we expect you to execute the workbook throughout the remainder of the next 9 months. And so we build these 12-month, we call them GOAT trail maps. Everything's focused around the word GOAT.
Yeah, which is great.
So we've got the GOAT patient persona, we've got the GOAT trail map, and then we have what's called the Trail Angel package, where if they want someone to be a sounding board true consultant and teach them and be a resource for them to connect them with, okay, who should I use for my Google ads? Who should I use for my social media? Who should I use for my website? We are kind of the matchmaker as the Trail Angel guide, and we'll guide you along month by month. So we have an ongoing consulting package that we'll do on a month by month basis. Then if they say, look, I'm too big to worry about my own marketing anymore, I need someone to come in and take it over, but they don't want to spend $150,000 a year on a marketing director, then we have our fractional CMO, which we call the Sherpa package, where we assist you. So we do the heavy lifting. Not only are we guiding you, but we're carrying that pack, working with your partners and your marketing agencies, and we are actually meeting with them and meeting with you to make sure that we're kind of that middleman connecting the dots and facilitating that along the way. So those are those are the consulting packages. And then this year we tripped into event planning. I had a client who said, "Man, I want to put on this big event for Full Arches and I want to educate the community." And he said, "But I did this event. It cost me about, $15,000 to put on this massive event, and we had 6 people show up and nobody started treatment. It was kind of a waste of money." I'm like, "Oh, well, I've planned some events. My wife is an event planner. Like, let's see if we can help." So now we have what we call the GOAT event package. And we will literally, what event do you want to put on? We go out, we find the vendors, we will, find the caterers, we'll put on, and find a venue if your office isn't big enough to host. And we do 3 types of events. We'll plan like a services event where it's your procedure that you're wanting to push for production. And so if you want to do a production event, right now we're planning 4 different ones between now and January that are, one is for Invisalign, it's kind of like an Invisalign day, but it's only in the evening. And it's all around, like, we help put together the campaign to market, get people to attend. We build out the promotions. We work with the Invisalign rep to identify how much they'll knock off for how many starts we can get. So we'll do a full-blown production event. We've done a lot of full arch events. We're doing a big full arch event down in South Florida next month. We've already got, a couple dozen patients that are pre-registered to attend that one. The last one that we did was in Detroit. And we got 12 people to attend and 9 people started treatment, and we did almost $200,000 on the books in one night.
Wow.
So because of my sales experience, we come in and we MC the events. So we don't just plan it. We fly out and we put on the event for you, and we make you look like you'd be an idiot not to move forward with whatever we're doing. So the production events are a lot of fun. We do influencer events where we teach you how to work with your local community of social media influencers to get referrals from them consistently. Those have been so much fun because influencers have personalities, right? So that's been kind of a new edge channel of marketing we do. And then we have others that are more like career driven. I'm doing one in my own community right now for a client I've worked with for 13 years. And she was like my very first postcard client way back in the day. And she's been with me through thick and thin. And we're in a very affluent community that is very expensive cost of living now, just outside of Park City, Utah. And she cannot find employees for hire. Like, the staffing shortages, or people can't afford to live here, let alone work here, right?
Yeah, it's big. Yeah.
And so we are working with the local high school and MTech and the dental assisting school and the local branch of one of the college communities up here. And we're putting on an event for all of the high school juniors and seniors to teach them about what opportunities there are for career paths in the dental industry, and trying to encourage some of these really bright students in the community that are going to college and going to the high schools here of the opportunity to come and shadow with us, learn from us, and let's teach you in this evening setting exactly what it is that so many of our employees are doing and why dentistry is such an amazing industry to work in. Because this industry, or this high school, has had, they've got 700 students in every single grade. It's almost a 6A high school, and they get maybe one every 10 years that goes into the dental industry. And so very, very few people know anything about it. So we're trying to play the long game and educating and doing these events a couple of times a year, where it's sponsored by the local practice to drive awareness and giving back to the community, but ultimately hopefully starts creating an interest for people to stick around and come to work here. So there's a lot more to it than that. I'm simplifying it here, but the GOAT event packages are a lot of fun. And then the last thing that we do is we do on-site training days. So we'll do team building training days, culture building, sales training, phone training. So, we do a lot with kind of the Team Training Institute's influence, and Jay Geyer's program, and some of these others that we've just kind of melded it all into what do you have foundationally, and then we build off of that to customize the overall patient experience, and we'll do on-site training days as well. So that's called our Mountaineer package. So yeah, we're doing a lot, and we do all of that with a pretty lean team. So we're very selective in who we work with, and the wait list is important to us. So that's how we work off of our wait list of people wanting to start with us.
It's fantastic. I love the names too.
Yeah, we'd be stupid marketers not to lean into that name. So
I know we're running short on time, but a couple more questions. So let me know if I'll try to be, um, cognizant of it. But where do you see your business in, say, 5 years from now with all the changing technology?
yeah, that's a great question. I hope that it's a lot more automated where somebody could literally go to my website, upload their own CSV file of their patient data, and within seconds have an email of their report. There's still a lot of manual components of that we go through quality assurance to make sure that it's not just generic stuff. And so our turnaround time right now on our reports are, 7 to 10 days typically. Sometimes it's as much as 3 weeks if we have some issues with the formatting and the way that the PMS is exporting the patient data. But I would love more than anything 5 years from now to be fully automated to provide this data with a plug and play and charge a fraction of the price. Nothing would make me happier than to do that. We have a lot of really cool things that might get us there a lot sooner than I think, but as of right now, there's a lot of manpower that goes into that. So that's step one. If we could automate more components of our business that way to be more efficient. And I would love to have the ability, we created an online community called Dental School, but we spell it SKOOL. And so if you go to school.com/dental-school, both schools spelled with the KOOL, you can join our community for free right now. We've got a couple hundred dental professionals on there and 100 of the top dental consultants that are abundance minded. They want to just share what they know for free on that platform. And so I'm a networker by just naturally. I love to meet people. And so I've put that community together over the past several months. And I would love more than anything to host an annual event within the next few years for our dental community where we charge a small nominal fee at some point, probably starting in January. We've grown it big enough where for a couple $100 a year, any dental professional can sign up to be a member. And I want these 100 consultants to be the ones putting on these events. So I want that money for the membership to pay to put on an event that any member can attend for free. You don't have to pay an attendance fee. You just fly to get there. And all of the revenue is given back to the community to attend, receive CE, go through the event itself, and really be focused on just information and knowledge and power that way, instead of just these events that are generating millions and millions of dollars. I think it's highway robbery what they charge the vendors to put on an event, and then they become very aggressive in their sales tactics, which pisses me off as a sales guy. Like, as a professional salesman, nothing makes me more upset and makes my blood boil than an aggressive close. So I want to create an environment in which people can come and learn and grow, and they don't feel like I can only walk down the middle of the aisles in the expo hall because I don't want to talk to 50,000 salespeople that have to make their money back from spending $20, $30, $50,000 to be there. So that's my vision, is I want to change the way that dental shows operate and get people there who are just genuine, wanting to learn, wanting to grow, wanting to network. And it's not about just sell, sell, sell all the time.
You kind of answered in a little way with the automation, but I was going to say, with these goals, if you had a magic wand to help you with one thing or change one thing with the business, what would that be?
Yeah, that's really what it would be, is just streamlining everything. We do something for our employees every single year that I take a lot of pride in. Somebody did it for me when I was going through a really hard time early on in my career. I woke up on December 1st and I had a $1,000 bonus for Christmas in my bank account. And so that's something that we've done from day one, is December 1st every year, my employees get a $1,000 deposit in their account. Merry Christmas. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for what you contribute. If it was a rough year, I hope this lightens the load and the stress for your holidays with your family. And so I want to be able to make it to a point where we say, not only do you get $1,000 spending cash, but we're going to Fiji for the week. I want I want there to be an environment that we can continue to give back to our employees for the hard work that they're putting in and what they're creating to make our clients' lives easier.
I have so many. I wish I could just chat with you for So what does being wealthy by design mean to you?
Wealthy by design to me is being in a position where I can help anytime I want without second guessing. I want the ability more than anything. My wife and I talk about this all the time. We don't want to be wealthy for the flashiness of wealth. We want to be wealthy to be able to serve and give back. Moving out of the country and serving for 2 years on my own dime, giving back and just serving people and helping them with whatever they needed just set a tone in my life that there's no greater joy than serving one another. And so I'm very service minded, and I just wish I spent the last 2 days canceling my meetings and building a deck for somebody because I love working with my hands and I hate sitting at the desk, but I have to. It's the necessary evil of what I've chosen to do in my life. And so that to me is wealth, is being able to truly serve others and doing it in a way where my own family's needs are met so that we can go and experience how to give back and how to show generosity and kindness and spread that in our circle of influence.
For a final question, for listeners who want to achieve more with their practice but don't know where to start, what's one actionable step that they can take this week to start that journey?
Man, there's so many ways to answer that. I would say if you have a patient list, if you're an established practice, if you've got at least 100 active patients in your database, let's analyze it. Send over a report and let's start there to give you a foundation so that you can create a theme and really a cohesive marketing approach that's not so scattered that you don't know what's working and what's not. I think that's probably the easiest, most actionable thing. I get a lot of referrals from these acquisition teams and these brokers that I've met over the years that I've helped practices sell through, or that they have referred to me because they just bought a practice and they say, you need to start with the GOAT CMO report. We got a lot of those referrals this year. And it's always fun to talk to the ones who they get referred saying, I've been wanting to sell, but my EBITDA is so bad, I'm not going to even break even. How do I get out of this funk? For that $1,500 to be able to just say, you know what? I'm spending a lot more than that on stupid things I don't know if they're working. Let's get a foundational true data summary of what we're dealing with. That's probably one of the easiest and best action items that we've been able to give people. And I would say just a sneak little bonus second thing that they could do to take action immediately. Read The 1 Minute Manager by Kenneth Blanchard. If you've never read that book, it will make you more efficient as a manager and a business owner than any other book I've ever read. It teaches you how to give 1 minute praises to your employees, 1 minute reprimands, and 1 minute coaching sessions so that you can be super efficient in managing employees when you don't want to or when you're not experienced in it. So that's probably in my companies that I've worked with and the teams that I've managed, if anyone ever came to me and said, hey, I want more responsibility, I'm ready to be a manager for you, I would tell them, okay, you got to read The 1 Minute Manager and write a 1-page summary of what you learned and review it with me in our next one-on-one. And that was a requirement. I didn't ever promote anybody or hire anybody into that role without reading that book, because I read it in 3 hours because I couldn't put it down. And I read it every couple of years because it's just got such good foundational principles in management.
That's great. I just wrote it down because I haven't read that one.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Thank you.
GoatCMO.com. So it's GOAT Chief Marketing Officer. GoatCMO.com is the easiest way. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Jake Goats. I spell my name Goates, and so that's probably the easiest way. You can follow us on Facebook. No, I don't have an Instagram account. Yes, I'm a marketer. I just don't have time to deal with my own marketing. Almost everything we do is word of mouth at this point. So feel free to follow us. Also, join our dental school community. If you're a dental professional, everybody should be on dental school, and it's free to join for life if you join before the end of this year. So,
and that's dental school with SKOOL.com, did you say? Okay.
No, it's
No, not me.
school.com. I'll send you the link and
Yes.
you can put the link in the show notes for anybody to join. And it's going to be super inexpensive next year for others to join as we grow. But my goal is to make that like imagine Dental Town and all of the social media dental groups having a baby. This is a platform of education and like no judgment, just a community of sharing an abundance of knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, there's such a wealth of information. So thank you, Jake, for coming on the podcast.
No, Jane, it's my pleasure. It's so nice to finally meet you. Happy to do this as often as it makes sense and communicate. You know, if anyone on this podcast listening wants a free consult, wants to talk through anything, vent their frustrations of what they're facing. We don't have all the answers, but we typically know somebody who can find some of those answers for you. So that's what we love to do is connect people.
Here are a couple takeaways from our conversation with Jake. Step back and take a look on what you're spending. That could be time or resources. Are you reaching the right people? Is there a more efficient way of doing things? Number 2, technology is changing very quickly. However, there are a lot of fundamental principles that stay the same. So you don't have to use all of the tools that are changing so quickly. Find a couple, learn them, and you can implement them in your business to help with growth. Number 3, if it doesn't exist or you can't change what is currently there, you can always build it. You can check out Jake's dental school. Pretty neat. We'll put the link in the show notes. Number 4, wealth is defined differently by many people, but being able to give back and share what you've learned is very important. I hope you enjoyed that episode, and if you have any questions or suggestions or would like to be on the show, go ahead and send an email to thewealthybydesignshow@gmail.com. We'll see you at the next show. Thanks for listening to the Wealthy by Design show. Just a quick note, the thoughts and opinions you have heard today are for educational and informational purposes only and are strictly our own. Nothing discussed in the show constitutes professional, financial, investment, legal, or tax advice, nor should it be taken as a recommendation to buy or sell specific products or strategies. Always consult a qualified financial professional before making decisions that could impact your financial future. Thank you.